Hello, Martha. How are you? Hope all's well. And I want to say hello to you guys. I know Ed's been a very, very dear friend for all these years, and I'm having the opportunity now to be diving into my teaching. And the more people I can get this in front of, the more word will get out. And I trust that you guys will be out there. You always toot my horn, so it's always a pleasure to be able to help you guys out. And after all that Ed's been able to help me out with, and calling upon him with all my technical issues. What I had done here is, this is how the lesson would work pretty much with the correspondence. What I'm going to do for you is I'm just going to throw out some material for you. When you feel like you get things completed and you feel pretty comfortable with it, then I can really, I'll send you some more stuff so you're following the tracks. Everything here is put on like a sequence. And what I'll do is I'll pull you in that way. That would probably be the easiest way. That way you can just work at it at your own convenience. But typically when someone's corresponding with me, they would be playing an audio cassette for me and a video. So the videos are coming in of them playing each of these concepts. During this period, I would be doing my live critique and video back to them and talking to them about how they did and so on, and answering all their questions. Like I have another student that's doing Layla from Eric Clapton, and I'm sitting here with his chord chart and I'm reharmonizing and putting hyperchords and doing some nicer things with it. So it's I have some opportunity to do certain things there that are making these really, really personal. Even with the content that's on the video and library, I take these things and I mold and shape you and adjust it to fit you. So what I'm doing here is I'm trusting, and based on your level, again, I don't know if you've had previous experience with shells. The left hand, let me just show you what the shells are. We have the shell in the left hand is going to be one note down from the octave. Okay, these are all the shells. You want to get used to doing those all through the major 7 chords. One note down, you feel like you get them. 2 notes down from the octave, right here, is going to be dominant 7, minus 7, minus 7 flat 5, and augmented 7. You want to get these comfortable as well through all keys. Make sure you can function that way. And then 3 notes down, major 6, minor 6, and diminished 7. Okay, and you get through, you're putting these through all keys. Okay. Now, what you could do a step further is the shell to the 5th, shell to the 5th, shell to the 5th. Get comfortable with that particular shape and know what it feels like and what it looks like, and know those fifths inside and out. So, by knowing the chord parts, you're going to be able to go quite quickly through the material. Like for example, when we're doing my 9-1, when Ed mentioned you were playing with the 9-1, I'm assuming that you know your chord tones, the 1, the 3, and the 5, and the 7. If you don't, it's very important to learn those 12 tones. There's only 12 of them. The thirds of all the keys, the flat thirds, the fifths, the 7, flat 7, get comfortable with them, okay? So, on this particular lesson, Martha, I have it's a ton of material. This is way bigger than what I'd normally give, but I'm giving you a little bit of each of the topics that I thought you might want to just dabble with. The first thing is the 9-1 line development using half notes. You can use whole notes as a step before this, but you can do half notes through all the major 7 keys, okay? And this is good for you too, Ed, because these are beginning, more fundamental skills that you can use teaching, or you can use to refine these particular skills under your own ability as well. So then I have this Lost Leaf, this particular tune, one of my originals, and with a melodic displacement. All we're doing here is you want to take the shells of tunes and you want to play and just do a little bit of a delay. Little bit of a delay. So what's happening is see if I have a tune. I have a tune right here on the piano that it's called It Could Happen to You. Watch this. So I'm going to play It Could Happen to You, and I'm going to come in a little bit delayed. bring it in. What I'm doing is I'm kind of bringing it in. The left hand is very stable, and the right hand just coming in. You don't want to overdo it. You want to have some come in on the beat and some be delayed. But that's the first part of developing the ability to be able to whip around. So if I'm playing the same kind of left hand, but I'm getting more around my right hand, watch. I'm having the control. I can play around when I'm playing at the higher level. The left hand just stays stable, and the right hand can be whipping around. And, you know, it all starts by being able to just delay your tone until your mind's telling your hand to play something, but not everything's so lined up. It will make it, you'll sound so different because your left hand becomes very separated. And when you're improvising at the higher level, your right hand sings and your left hand is establishing more of a steady tone. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you're plugging through. Okay, so so breakaway, another one of my originals. We're using the third as an intertonal movement. So we're going to take the melody and we're going to add the third as a tonal move. You want to do the third on the compression. So which first you want to be able to play the shell and then the melody with the third first before you start putting the third in as a tonal move. Okay, so I'm not quite sure where you're at and you know how much you're going to figure out, but if Ed might be able to help you out there if you're having trouble on that, Martha. Okay, so memorize the 7 patterns. These 7 patterns are great. It's more of the mechanics of getting, and I have these keynotes attached to them. You can whip around playing these things. The 1, 5, you know, it's C, G, C, D, A, D, E, C, E, F, C, F, G, D, G, A, E, A, and B, G, B. This is all in the key of C. Gives you a nice playground to kind of improvise on, and it's getting the mechanics of your hand playing this shape, 1, 5 octave. So later on we can apply it to tenths and shells and all kinds of things. So this is it's kind of a fun thing, and it really is, it gets you going. So 7 patterns in the keynotes, then work on the release to any white note, and then you want to choose the release tone. It's a really great little exercise to play, and you'll start sounding really good. I mean, you could sit down. But then I got to stay close, and in whatever keynote you're going to go close to, that tells you what chord to play. So it's really kind of a fun exercise to get you thinking a little bit. Scales, this is my big scale study, 1 against 1, using 1, 2 fingerings and 4, 5 fingerings. Ed said you're a classical player. One of the fingerings of the 7 is the classical fingering. So right now we're going to look at the first 2 fingering, the 1, 2s, 1 octave, then 2 octaves into the end of the piano and back. And then 4, 5s only go one direction. 1 octave, 2 octaves into the end of the piano. And whatever hand hits the end first, you stop. Okay, so just these 2 fingerings for now. Get comfortable with it. It'd give you it's where I get all my chops from, is these things. They give you a really good, for playing jazz music, it's really, it's giving you the extra control when you run out of fingers. You know, when you're playing an idea. I can keep the line going. I can kind of move depending, because my hand will block out, and if you're, a lot of classical players bottom out there. But this kind of skill, it was taught by Lenny Tristano, the great blind pianist from New York. It was kind of a cool thing. It's one of the coolest things I've studied with scales. Voice leading, it's showing you basically how to take the 1, 3, 5, 7 and play all the chords under one area of the piano. F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G. So what I'm doing here is I'm keeping the hand in one area, looking at the top note is the singing note, and then I'm harmonizing below. This exercise will get you used to seeing the top note on the piano, okay? It's really cool. 10th note stride formation, root 7-10, root 7-10, root 7-10, root 7-10, root 7-10. Once you get those, you can put them into tunes. It's really cool. Okay, 7, 10, you can invert them, and you can get the inversion of those, and it really gives you the same kind of open sound. This is a great little skill to give you something else in the left hand. You're just starting off the 1, 7, 10. I'm just showing you here on major sevenths with these work pieces to give you the idea, but later on when you're playing, very cool skill. Texture release is wild. It is the wildest thing. Ed, you're going to love this. You got to work on this thing, man. This is so good for both of you guys. But I know this is something I know particularly Ed will get a kick out of. It's basically using colors and textures of available notes. It's really very, very powerful, and it's artistic the way it sounds. It gives you that spontaneity in your playing that you really will dig. Then frame permutations. It's 3 notes for a major 7. I'm taking these 6 shapes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. They're just permutations of select notes that are available on the chord. And this is a great way to kind of introduce improvisation, because any note that can work on a chord, it can be permutated in any way. Any chord you play, any 3 notes grouped together, you can permutate those things into linear formations. That's what we're doing here. Okay, so then the last thing, I put my tune somewhere out there from the American Tail, the Disney tune with the Earthworks thing. This is what I typically do on lessons, is I'll share a little clip of me playing and performing on all lessons, so you can get an idea of how I correspond. So this is essentially how the correspondence works, and I was just thrilled to have it all come together. And I'm shooting with 3 cameras, so I get the cameras now. I can sit down. Get higher on the piano, and I want to do more on the piano, I can so I can use the whole range of the piano. So there you have it. That's what I've been up to, and I wanted to share it with you. Play around with the stuff. I'm loading content all the time. So maybe you can give me a reply back at some point. If anything's too difficult, you can send me an email and I'll tell you how to modify it. Okay, so in the meantime, or maybe take one of the concepts and really digest it, because there's so much on here that's months and months worth of work. So I wanted to send it out to you, and love sharing it with my good friends. Okay, take care, guys. So long.